Today is a 2-year anniversary of The Last Dance coming up.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about TJ Warren.
Wow.
No, probably actually. We gotta find the 2-year anniversary of that.
That was in the fall. Remember, the bubble was like in the summer and the fall.
You guys are haters, man.
So it's the 2-year
summer,
anniversary
fall, right.
of the Jordan doc.
Yep.
And this
The
man
Last
probably
Dance
still
came
hasn't
out 2
watched
years
it
ago
yet.
today.
Nope.
No, he hasn't.
No, I haven't.
That's hater mentality. That's like
It really
that's
is.
No,
some
it's
weird
not.
hater energy, bro. Like
It's
if LeBron
not.
came out with a doc, I'd still watch it.
He
But-
does. He has one. He's got one on like Amazon. I haven't watched it.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one.
I haven't
on
watched the
there
Tom
about-
Brady one either, to be honest with you. I won't watch Tom Brady.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one either. Literally, the only sports person documentary that I've watched and like I enjoyed was like the Tiger Woods one.
Yeah,
That's the only one I've watched, and I just have a hard time watching sports documentaries and stuff
I do.
too. Like Kobe could drop one, and I probably still wouldn't watch it. Not that like I don't care about Kobe. It's just
Mhm.
sports documentaries aren't my like.
You know, there's one that's
Forte.
rumored to be dropped, and I'm actually excited for it, especially seeing them play in the playoffs, is the Golden State Warriors one. This is like, I forget who said it, but this is like the third iteration of the Golden State Warriors championship team. You had the pre without KD, you had the KD, and now you have this like, we'll get into it, but like it's so exciting, man. You got Jordan Poole hooping, then you still got these young guys, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody off the bench, James Wiseman, whatever your opinion is on him. Obviously, we haven't seen him play, but it's very exciting. But with that being said, let that lead us into this episode. Welcome to the Lob It Up Podcast. We are your hosts, Tobias, Chris, and Siavash. Siavash, I want to know how you're doing today first, my friend.
I'm doing all right, my brother. I don't like Canada right now because it's all of a sudden snowing and it's raining and it's cold again.
Yeah.
I was just about to tuck away all my jackets and my sweaters, but gotta hold them tight for another day or two. But we're gonna get through it. Otherwise, I am doing all right. Just watching playoffs basketball. How are you guys doing, Chris? How you doing, my brother?
I'm not too bad, just trying to enjoy these playoff basketball games and whatnot, and I'm gonna just leave it at that for today.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on in the playoffs. I mean, there's drama, there's exciting games, there's buzzer beater game winners. Jason Tatum with a beautiful spin move around your guy, Siavash, Kyrie Irving. And then speaking of Kyrie Irving, he's chirping and yelling at the fans and getting into it, giving the middle finger, and I have no problem with that. To be honest with you, do your thing. Or like if they're gonna chirp me, like if you can't take the heat, then get the hell out of the kitchen. But Chris, what's your take of the week? Does it have anything to do with maybe that Celtics Nets kind of back and forth?
It actually does. I
okay.
was actually talking about this with my friend because I saw like a tweet about it, and I was like, you know what? This is actually very comparable. That Kevin Durant is this generation's Michael Jordan.
Interesting.
In
Okay.
the aspect of when Michael played great, Michael's the GOAT. Same thing. Durant, great guy, best player, da da da. But then when Jordan has a bad game, nobody talks about Jordan having a bad game. We just forget about it. People
I
forget
don't
about
know.
Durant having bad games. Nobody talks about it. It's just all kind of swept under the rug, type of thing. I've literally never heard anybody talk about like bad games. Yeah, there's the Kevin Durant slander, like, oh, he's a snake, he went to this and that. But that's it. They just talk about his character. They don't talk about his bad game. Because that last possession, he was fully guarding Tatum. And he just froze and let the man go to the basket.
Yeah, he looked like the Iron Giant on top of the town. Like I've seen a lot of slander. Like you're talking about, you haven't seen slander. I go on Twitter and I'm seeing like blasphemous takes about Kevin Durant and how he's overrated and he's actually not that good. And people talk about how he's one of the greatest offensive players of all time, but it doesn't matter because he can't play defense. Well, I agree. His game has never been on defense. I don't agree with your take. There's been times where KD's definitely been held accountable. The person that I've been hearing people being like, the person that I've heard Michael Jordan be compared to lately is actually Steph Curry. They talked a lot about how, the comparison has always been LeBron and Michael. And that's maybe more so for the greatness comparison. But in terms of comparing them and their teams and their eras, a lot of the argument is, well, you know, Michael never had to come back from 3-1 against a dynasty 73-9 team. Michael never had to do that because he was that team. So Steph was that guy on that team. Michael was that guy on that team. Changed the culture. You know, we can debate. Steph Curry has a real tough argument against LeBron James for who was the greatest player of the decade of the 2010s. So I would use Steph as a comparison, but I understand what you're saying, KD. Sivash, what are your thoughts on that?
I did see that tweet that Chris is kind of referring to, that KD does not get the criticism he deserves. And I will say this, I agree with that. And Tobe, you say you see that on your Twitter where people are criticizing him. I think with the history of what you bring onto the podcast from what you see from Lakers fans, I'm convinced you do have a lot of like 12-year-olds on your timeline. Not that you follow them, but they're just on your timeline.
Just because I eat tricks. I do not hang out at parks. I do not follow 12-year-olds on Twitter. Trust.
I'm not saying you follow them. I'm just saying they're on your timeline. You see their tweets.
Yeah. Because,
hey, man, like, no way people are saying KD is not that good. Like, I did see a few tweets of people being like, hey, he was ball watching. How did he get that? And, you know, it is what it is. It's just one play. Yeah. I'm not going to criticize him that much for that. At the same time, I think it's a playoff series. You just got to see what he goes. But I will agree with the KD does not get criticized as much. I think when we think back to the past few years, especially when he was playing with the Warriors, a lot of times the blame was on Steph more than it was on KD. And maybe he has outperformed that, but I think since the OKC days, he has not had to deal with that much criticism about his game.
And let me also say this too, like, and none of us can comment on it because, first of all, there was no social media, and we also weren't our age when Michael was playing. I don't know if there was real criticism at the time. Right now, sure, you look at all the old heads and whatnot, and they only speak glory about Michael, but like, I'm sure there was probably people criticizing Mike back in the day in the 90s, in the 80s, you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure too. I just, as you said, social media does make it a lot louder than it should be.
Exactly.
With the 12-year-olds.
With the Kevin Durant thing, something that I've noticed, and it's probably been over the past 5 years, there was like Stephen A. Smith used to go at KD a lot. And KD got offended, right? KD had the burner account. So much so that KD's mom was communicating with Stephen A. Like, basically, like, his mom was sticking up for him. And I swear to God, since then, I haven't heard Stephen A. say anything bad about KD. And I think he was KD's biggest critic. So I kind of think that's like, you know, baby shit soft, basically. The fact that you had to get your mom in to defend you so that Stephen A. would stop talking about you. At some point, bro, just shut off the phone. Like, don't look at your Twitter. Like, again, they're professional athletes. You know, not all the hate that comes is deserved. Like Russell Westbrook, who's, you know, his family was apparently getting slandered during the season. That's never deserved. You know what I mean? But when it comes to your play on the court, if you're playing like shit, KD, if you're not defending, if you got Jason Tatum running into the paint and you're standing there again, like I said, Iron Giant over the city, bro, you deserve to get slandered on that for sure.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Steve Ash, what is your take of the week? Are you coming with some spice?
I might be. We'll see.
Okay.
This does go to another player on the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh.
My take of the week is that Ben Simmons is trolling all of us.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Was it the video
sure
when he dunked and he said, "Watch this"? Yeah. Okay. I don't give a fuck that you dunked it, bro. Shoot the ball.
But I think that's a troll video.
Oh, really?
Because did you see the dunk? For any of our listeners that did not see the video we're discussing, there's a clip of a reporter shooting or videoing Ben Simmons from afar. And Benson just goes to the guy, "Hey, watch this." And goes up to the basket and puts up a dunk like he looks like Shaq at 50 years old. Yeah. I don't think that's a real video. I don't think he was just like, "Hey, watch this. I'm going to do something sick." I think he's trolling on purpose.
I would hope so. Okay.
And I think he's going to come back and dunk on everybody. And people are going to be like, "Whoa, what the hell happened?" As social media has been talking about it, I think he's just trolling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because the rumors are he's going to be back in the next few games.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he just did that to fuck with everybody.
It would be funny, too, because I think in the bracket, they wouldn't. So don't... No, never mind. But I was thinking for a second there that Philly was that Ben Simmons was still on Philly. I was gonna say it'd be ironic if in the second round they ended up playing Atlanta, because obviously that was where everything happened, where he decided to pass instead of dunk. But yeah, I want to see Ben come back. I think that team, really would be a juggernaut with Ben coming back. But we'll see. We'll have to see.
Okay.
I have two, and I've had one that I've held on for. So I'm gonna give you this one because I think eventually we're gonna get in to my other one about a certain player. I was watching a lot of basketball this year, and there's teams that I shouldn't have been watching just because of who they had on the court and just the terrible structure of this team. But I watched a lot of Detroit Pistons games because I was interested in Cade. I was interested in some of these younger guys, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. The Pistons had the potential, hopefully they don't get screwed by the lottery. The Pistons had the potential to get like a top 3, top 5 pick. I honestly think that if they get a top 3 pick, most notably if they get Chet or if they get Jabari Smith Jr., they're a play-in team next year. They are so scrappy. They play so competitively against a lot of top-end teams. If you look at their March games, they were playing tough. And I want some money off Detroit, so maybe I have a little bias there, but I don't know, man. I think that they can mess around. Now, when I did think about this, I kind of looked at those other Eastern teams. The Eastern Conference has gotten a lot more competitive, so it is a lot tougher for me to say that they're going to be a play-in team. But we all had Indiana in the play-in. Who's to say a team like Atlanta doesn't fall out? Who's to say a team like they had a great year, Cleveland doesn't fall out? I'm just saying, I think they'll be in that final race near the end of the season to clinch a play-in spot. I don't think they're going to do anything, but I just really like what I saw with the young guns. Again, they have potential to get a top 3 pick. They've got a lot of money. There's rumors about Miles Bridges, local Detroit boy. I'm seeing Jalen Brunson. That boy is going to get a bag, and I would not be shocked if Detroit throws 25 sheets at him. I'm just saying, I think it'd be interesting to watch Detroit next year.
Okay.
That's kind of interesting. I just can't fathom who you think is going to fall out of that top 10.
I know, it's
top
tight.
12.
I know, because I'm looking at like the table, and it's like, wow, you think your 23 and 59 Pistons are going to be amazing next year?
I don't think they're going to be amazing.
But
I watched them, and they're just scrappy, and like they really kind of near the end let Isaiah Stewart stretch the floor. He was hitting threes, like so much so that like at the start of March, his line for sports betting was 1-3 a game, and it was like plus odds. To at the end of the season, it had raised up to 2.5 threes a game. Like they've got Cade. Cade's just going to grow. Now I know, Seabass, you speak a lot about players' second years that usually have a fall off point, so that could definitely happen with Cade. The thing that I sort of like about it is Cade had a stronger second half, so I'm hoping that leads him into a positive second year. Something similar that we saw with really both LaMelo and Ant Edwards. But I don't know, man. I'm just really interested. I think Jeremy Grant might be traded. I think they might look to get a piece in there. You got a coach that has he's used to that grit and grind, try to grab into the playoffs style. Obviously, he wasn't able to win a championship in Toronto, but a lot of that culture that was built in Toronto was built by Dwayne Casey. So they're just gonna be an interesting team to watch. And if I had to buy the league pass next year and I couldn't pick my own team,
don't ever buy the league pass. Take that back right now. Don't ever buy the league pass. We don't support.
Now
with
the Fire Stick, I would never.
It's the biggest scam the NBA's ever put out.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
How are you gonna tell me to pay over $100 a year and you're gonna tell me I can't watch half the games? Yes,
especially too as a fan of like an American team, Seabass, you would have the same issue. I remember when I was first interested a couple years ago, I was telling them I'm a Clippers fan, like I want to watch Clippers games, and they're basically saying like you can't because of blackouts and it's just not on TV. I'm like, what? Why would I get it then? And then you're in Canada, so you can't watch the All-Star. You don't get the playoff package. I was like, why would I spend money on this then?
Exactly.
Yeah. Streams are much better.
It's like,
I don't know why we don't have a feature like YouTube TV over here, where they had that deal where anybody could put on any game without having to worry about the TV deals.
mm-hmm.
I wish we had something like that. You could just put on any game. You don't have to worry about any of the blackouts. Why do you have to worry about that if you're paying money?
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, the NBA League Pass is like turning 18 and going in to a fucking porno store and buying yourself a movie. Club. Yes, you bought the DVD. The DVD you could have found online for free, and for what? Just to have to awkwardly hide it around your room, not be able to watch it when you want to watch it.
I think I still, terrible. And I remember
having a porno DVD in 2022 is nuts.
No, yeah, like why?
Why would you?
I only say this because you're just a weirdo. I made that mistake as a young child.
Yeah, like where do you hide that?
In 2022, if you currently have porno DVDs inside your house, you're honestly just a weirdo. Because just figure it out at this point. Like now you're collecting something you don't need to have
having a girl over.
Yeah. Wild scumbag.
But speaking of the NBA League Pass, like it's unfortunate because it should be more accessible to a lot of people. Because the biggest, and I was telling Tarek this the other night, the biggest qualm I have with a lot of like NBA casual fans, just casual watchers, is they're only going to watch their team, right? If I only watch Clippers games, you're only going to hear Clippers opinions. I won't have any idea about, how nice Miles Bridges is playing, how great DeJounte, Murray was, Marcus Smart winning Defensive Player of the Year. I would be like, well, why didn't this guy win it? Why didn't this guy win it? Like, why didn't my guy win it? So I like the League Pass for that. It gives people the opportunity to watch, some guys that are like all NBA level guys that you wouldn't normally get to see. So I just think it should be definitely more accessible for people to watch.
Dan, do they have a feature on there that you can like watch the old games, or can you just watch games live?
You can watch previous games. I believe that season. I don't know with the NBA League Pass, but I know with NHL Game Center, you could go back in history and watch games. There's a really great account that I follow on Twitter, cool. The Dime Dropper Pod, and he's doing I think he's a bit younger than us. He might be our age, like he's in his 20s, but he's going back and he's watching games in like the 60s and doing like very, very deep research, because a lot of people nowadays are just watching. Okay, I watched the 2010s and up, so this is my knowledge I have of the NBA, or I watched from 05 and up, and like. Sure, like you can gather, a good bit of knowledge, but you can't really reflect on the history. You don't really know how great Larry Bird was. Larry Bird gets slandered. You know what I mean? Like you don't know how I slander Bill Russell. I've never watched a Bill Russell game. You know what I mean? So for him to go back and he's posting videos and he does a whole breakdown, and they're all on YouTube. You can watch them all. So for him to do that and then provide it for us, I think that's awesome. Because again. I'm an NBA. I consider my NBA, like myself, an NBA historian, and I just encourage a lot of people to go and do that research and figure out, how the game has evolved, who was great in their own eras. But yeah, I just think that's really cool. But speaking of all NBA players, I know I mentioned that a bit ago. Let's get into some all NBA conversations now. Some of the NBA awards have already been announced, like I mentioned. Marcus Smart winning DPOY. I believe most improved announced, or is that basically?
Not yet.
Just defensive.
Yeah. So a few have been announced, and then a few I think we already know. But All NBA doesn't get announced until the end of the year, does it, Siavash?
I think it might get announced during the season or during the playoffs. I think it's get announced at some. I'm not sure if I like that. Like I know the NHL, they do their awards ceremony at the end of the playoffs and everything. I think they should be announcing all the awards before the playoffs start. Like I think Stephen A. Smith had posted a video saying Joel Embiid is the MVP because after 2 games in the playoffs, it's a recency bias, and that's not fair. Imagine there's a guy that's not in the playoffs that should have gotten a vote or should have gotten more recognition, right? So I think all that should be decided before the playoffs start. But let's move into all NBA conversations, and Siavash, I'll let you, kind of kick this segment off. So for the All NBA conversation, similar to how we did our NBA award picks, we're going to talk about our picks for the All NBA first team, second team, and third team. Of course, as we do in the Lob It Up podcast, if one of us makes a crazy pick, we're going to roast them for it. So Chris, this is my bad sign to you. Please do not pick Pascal before All NBA third team. I'm going to yell at you.
Hey.
But for the first team, of course, the rules are... What's up, Dad?
I said, nice your beak, B.
But the rules for the All NBA still remains the same. 2 guards, 2 forwards, a center. If the rules change in the NBA, we're going to change it then.
Cool.
But if I see any of you guys put Embiid and Jokic in the same team,
thank you.
I'm going to yell.
Thank you.
We're going to stick with the rules. We're going to keep the tradition going unless it gets changed.
The league has been around for 75 years. Why did now they want to change it and put, okay, well, I feel really bad, so I want to have, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis on All NBA first team. No. We don't get it. You guys already got it. Not you guys, but the league. You guys already got away with it, doing DeRozan as a guard when he had to play a fucking minute as a guard. He's a forward. Yeah. He's not a guard. Like,
he's 100% yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even start a single game as a guard. So I'm glad we're keeping it traditional for the past 75 years that the NBA has been alive. But Steve Ash, you go ahead and get it started. Do we want to start with first team? I guess that might make it easier than going third team.
Yep. We're going to get started from top and drop it down the bottom, pause, and get all the players out of the top 15. I'm going to start by positions. I think the first one, let's get it out of the way. We all have this guy or one of these guys in our MVP conversation. So let's get started with the center in All NBA first team. My personal pick, my MVP, that's Nikola Jokic. I have him in my All NBA first team. What's up with you, Tobias?
Yeah, I totally...
Have you changed your mind?
I totally agree. Nikola Jokic, I mean, we've talked about it when we talked about our MVP discussions. Obviously, I made it very well known. I was very back and forth. He's so impressive, man. He's so impressive. He's such a good player. And just his ability to do everything on offense and still contribute on defense as well. I don't want to say far and away because, there's another guy there on the other side of the league in the Eastern Conference that has done his fair share this year. But yeah, I've got Nikola Jokic as my NBA first team starting center.
And Chris?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you and agree with all of those points. I had to go with the guy again, just how hard this guy worked like all season and all of that stuff. And even looking at like some of the highlights and how hacked and how attacked this guy was. Well, this guy's putting up points and this guy's just playing through it and he's still dropping buckets, still getting assists. So yeah, it's going to going Jokic for me.
Look at us, man. Look at me, man. My relationship with Nikola Jokic has come so far in the past 2 years, from the milk bag to the MVP. Like, looking good, dude. Looking good.
I called him the milkman.
The milkman to the MVP. Okay, so now let's do the forwards. We talked about it. We will not be having Joel Embiid as a forward because he is not a forward. He is a center. So for the 2 forwards, Chris, I'll let you get it started. Who do you have as your 2 forwards on the All-NBA first?
So my 2 selections are going to be obviously Giannis, another MVP candidate, and then second is Mr. LeBron James. Brother,
go, Chris.
Hey, brother, I'm telling.
Hey,
I'm telling you, man. It's not executive of the year decision. Okay, we're looking at the players on the court performance. Yeah. And at one point, LeBron James was leading the league in scoring. And
well, at least you acknowledged he was an executive this year.
Okay, it is what it is. The team didn't play well. Okay, it happened, but his performance on the court was still exceptional. And can I get that famous quote? How old is the man?
37.
And so is Chris Paul, and Chris Paul's balling out in the playoffs. So I don't know.
But Chris Paul hasn't been balling out.
Don't do that.
LeBron James.
Don't do
so
that.
Don't be doing that, brother.
Around him.
Okay, don't be doing that. So
anyway, I hate her.
Steve Ash, do you agree with Chris's takes here in the All NBA first?
Before we got started with this segment, I was kind of scared we were all gonna have the same pick. You know what? I'm glad Chris came in with the heat. Do I agree with him? I don't know yet. I'm gonna think about it while I'm talking the next minute. But No, that's a good pick. Chris made a good point. Of course, LeBron has been a scoring champ. He was very close to being a scoring champ, and he's played out of his mind this season. What I have a bit of difficulty with, when we spoke about the All-Star, I did not award bad winning percentage. I didn't care about that for the All-Stars, but I do not want to keep that same energy with the All-NBA. I think winning does matter. Yeah. Do I think LeBron had all the control over that? No. I think at some point we got to accept that team was out of control. Mm-hmm. But for my first selection for the forwards, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, no question there. And as Chris mentioned, MVP candidate, there's not a question. My second selection, I am not going to go with LeBron. Instead, I am going with somebody who has been playing a lot better and has been maybe got himself into a better spot. Tob, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going with Jason Tatum.
Yes, let's go,
Jason
my
Tatum?
Dog. My dog.
Wow. So Jason
Duke
Tatum
Blue
played
Devil
better than LeBron
alumni
this season?
Jason Tatum. Let's go.
Look, Jason Tatum
Played better than LeBron James.
He did carry that team to the second seed.
Mm-hmm.
I am awarding winning here a little bit, because if it wasn't about that, I would have probably put KD in that first.
I feel
team.
like it doesn't. The award isn't, best record. Because then there may be some other.
But it's a factor. It's a factor.
Okay.
It is a factor.
It's a factor.
Okay.
I'm not putting Kyle Lowry in this. Not that Kyle Lowry hasn't played good, but he doesn't have great stats, right? But I am kind of taking that into account here, and yeah, I don't know. What do you have here?
Your fear was that we would be similar, and Steve, actually, you and I are on the exact same page. Greek Freak and Jason Tatum. It's been no secret. I've been a huge fan of Boston since the start. I had a little bit of a spat middle of the season. I was not interested in what they were doing, but they turned it around. And a huge point, like you mentioned, was because of Jason Tatum. I don't agree with it, but at one point there was conversations of him being top 5 for MVP conversations. It was in that again. I don't agree with it, but his name was coming up. Jason Tatum has been so impressive, and I know we're not talking about the playoffs, but if you watch what he's been doing in the playoffs as well, it's amazing. I said, and again, I was reviewing back on some old episodes, and I had said I believe in 2 years that Jason Tatum is a top 5 player in the league. I might rescind that, and I might say next year he's a top 5 player in the league. He's so impressive. Jesus. He does literally everything on the court. I have to have Jason Tatum there, and it's no slight against LeBron. I definitely do have LeBron in this list, but at the end of the day, winning does matter. It's not all LeBron's fault. It's not all because of Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum had a large piece when it comes to the success of the Boston Celtics. So Giannis and Jason Tatum are on my forward spots for the All-NBA first team.
Okay.
I like that.
And what I was doing, just so you know, I wasn't trying to be Iron Man. I wasn't like Goku, Super Saiyan guy. I was just giving you the 0. I was giving you the 0.
Oh.
Yeah, the 0.
That was a 0?
I don't know. I have weird hands, bro. I have weird hands. I can't even see myself. Like, I only see like my shoulders and up. So.
All right, let's get to the guards.
The guards. I will start on the guards. I'll let you guys go first for yours. This one's actually pretty tough. There's a lot of good guards. Dang. I know one for sure is in there. Again, another guy that was in MVP conversations. We talked about guys leading their team to higher seeds. Unfortunately, he's out right now, but I do hope he comes back because he's a magician. And I'm going with Luka Magic, Don Luka, the impressive player over in Dallas. So I got Luka Doncic there. What are you looking at, Chris?
Oh, I'm just looking at there's a couple other guards who are seated higher than Luka. So.
Correct, but Luka,
here we go.
Luka did that all by himself.
Hey, we said wins. We said wins matter. We said wins matter.
They do.
Pretty sure Book Squad has a better record.
Sure.
Pretty sure the Grizz have a better record. Pretty sure the Warriors have a better record.
Would you like to entertain this for me? Who are the 3 best players on the Phoenix Suns?
On the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah.
So you got probably Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and I say maybe Chris Paul, maybe a third option.
Or Bridges, sure. Or Bridges, sure.
Or Bridges, yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Okay, who are the 3 best players on the Grizzlies? Because you mentioned Ja.
On the Grizzlies, yeah. We got Ja. Who else we got?
I'd say Triple J. Another guy that could be
maybe Triple J. Triple J. That's
Defensive Player of the Year candidate for sure.
Okay.
Who are the 3 best players on the Dallas Mavericks?
Oh,
Kristaps Porzingis.
Yep, Porzingis. Yeah. But I mean, brother, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying though, if that's the narrative we wanted to have earlier, we should keep that same energy all the way through.
Sure.
Right?
And I am.
So I mean, that's all. That's
all. I know you're biased. I know you're biased.
I'm just saying.
I know you're biased.
You are, man. I'm not being biased.
No, he's doing the thing.
No,
he's like, you pulled this argument
I'm not
on me.
being biased. I'm just saying, if that is the energy we went in with, then okay, let's keep that energy all the way through.
I sure am. I sure am, because Luka's squad is a lot worse than the purple and gold, than the Phoenix Suns, than the Memphis Grizzlies, and Luka is a huge contributor to that, and he was in MVP conversations. I heard LeBron in top 10 MVP conversations. I never heard him top 5. I definitely heard that.
Okay.
But number 2, now this is where I actually struggle, because we just mentioned 2 of these guys, and they both hold the 1 and 2 seed in the West. Man, it's really tough. I think I'm gonna have to ride with Devin Booker. I think I'm gonna give my spots to Luka and Devin Booker. It was very close between Ja and him, but I just Devin Booker, especially without Chris Paul at some point, he took over facilitating and scoring. He actually surprisingly puts up grabs a lot of boards as well, and far and away the best team in the league. So I'm gonna go with Devin and Luka on that top part of the guards.
Let's throw it to Chris. I want to see who his picks.
No, let me throw it back to you. See, I'm gonna lob it back to you. I'll let you go.
We're looking like D-Wade and LeBron James right now.
Yeah.
I am going with Luka Doncic as my first pick.
Okay.
I think, listen, Chris, I do hear your point, and yes, we did pull that card on you. But as you have mentioned it multiple times the past few weeks, the Mavs are a top 4 seed.
They are a top 4 seed.
They have home court advantage.
Now they are a top 4 seed.
It is not, again, it is not like Tobias tried to make a point like who else is on that team.
Yeah.
I think if you take out Luka right now, of course they're up by 1 game or they're tied right now with the Jazz. I still think that team is not going to be in the playoffs.
Okay.
So for me, I just look at Luka for that. My second guy, I am going with Devin Booker as well. I think he was definitely deserving of MVP conversation. His team is the first seed and the best win percentage in the league. There's not much I can say there. I don't know what Tobe is doing. Looks like he's trying to suck himself, but
I wish.
Just going.
I wish.
No, my laptop is about to die. The hot take, the takes were getting so hot. The blasphemy was coming out. It drained the battery out of my laptop, and it was plugged in. I swear.
Okay.
So sorry, you had Luka, and who was your second? I didn't hear that. I was, under the day.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. Okay.
Yeah. So at least we can all agree that we all had Booker there, because I also have Booker. Okay.
That's crazy. See, I swear, he is a huge Luka fan, and
I'm a Luka fan. I have Luka. But I also have Ja.
Who's he a bigger fan
both
of?
Ja,
that's true. LeBron and Ja, they're coming for it. I got you.
Okay, buddy. But I'm just saying. Again, like we said earlier, both squads, better record. And both players have been playing unreal this season. So I'm going to give it to them.
For sure. And again, that's definitely there might have been a wrong decision in some of our teams, but that Ja having at number 1, I can't argue with that. Again, like you said, top 2 seed in the competitive West. For sure. All-NBA second team. Siavash. Center. Who you got? It's a hard decision.
When I get the easy picks.
Hard decision.
Yeah, just get the easy ones.
Actually, you know what? No. Chris, you go first. Center, who you got?
Joel.
I was going to throw in a hot pick right there, bro. I was going to come out like, Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo. No, I just got Joel. Joel Embiid. Again, MVP candidate most of the thing, but Again, comparing him to Jokic, man softer than fucking Jello compared to Jokic. So I'm gonna give it
so
to
now we get the Raptors bias coming in here.
That ain't no Raptors bias, brother. That's a fact. The man loves to cry. Not even just for the Raptors. This guy cries all the time. Like, bro, you're literally 300 pounds and you cry. You cry so much. Whereas, again, you watch Jokic. Jokic is getting slap.
Yeah, I don't know. Were you watching the Nuggets game the other night? Because he got kicked out, but he was chirping at the ref. Because he was getting hacked, and he was basically saying like, "You're calling me for fouls against guards when they're doing the exact same thing to me all game," which I definitely understand and agree with his point. But again, like I was watching. I think I told you guys I was watching Philly in the regular season. And I said this guy is modern day Shaq. They cannot stop. No one can stop him. The only way to stop him is to foul him and go to the line. Problem is, he goes to the line and he hits his free throws. They're the free throw bros. James Harden and Joel Embiid.
Both of them, yeah.
We gotta get to that later.
But yeah, that's my pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all are in agreement. Joel Embiid, MVP candidate. Up until the very end, he was top 3. But yeah, so Joel Embiid, the center. I will take the forwards this time. You can take the guards, Siavash. This is tough as well. Because there's another guy. I'm talking about MVP candidates, and there's another guy that was in there for a long time, and his team was doing well. Unfortunately, they didn't finish as well. This is so tough, man, because there are actually a lot of options.
No, there aren't.
Because you'll see what I'm trying to say when I get there.
I don't know what he's doing now. I'm scared.
First off, I'm gonna go with LeBron James. I have LeBron James in my All NBA second.
Wow.
Yeah. I just think like Chris said, Chris was a little too early, premature, whatever we want to call it here, but I think respectfully, he's in a scoring title. I'm not going to mention anything with the age because that just narrative is overplayed. Scoring title. If they were a 6th seed, he would be in the MVP conversation. And unfortunately, he wasn't, and that's not all to do with him. That's everyone's got their hand in the pot there, but I think to do what he did, he took a hit on this assist this year, definitely, but he showed still, in year 19 of his career that he can still hoop with the young guys in there. So I do have LeBron on my All NBA second team, and on my other forward on my All NBA second team, I've got Kevin Durant. And it was really close. Siavash. I'm not. Again, I wouldn't disagree if you have Double D up there, but I'm gonna go with Kevin Durant. He's just so impressive with what he does. I know we were slandering him off the top, but 7-foot alien, Iron Giant, towering over the city, elite scorer, can score literally from anywhere. And in a year where James Harden turmoil, Kyrie played half the season, and when he came, he only played half of that season. I'm just super impressed with KD, what he can do as well. So I'm giving him that nod for All NBA second team. Siavash, go ahead.
Chris?
Okay, whatever.
I'm going to get the Chris this
time. All right. For my 2 forward selections, I have Durant. So got one agreement there with Tobias. And just basically swapping places, I have Tatum with my forward selection.
That's fair. Not mad at that. For my first selection, I got Durant as well. I almost had him on my first team, but I think the winning, of course, does come into play this time.
It does.
And he did miss a number of games as well. My second option, of course, I got DeMar DeRozan.
Fair.
Yeah. And it's, again, like I said, I don't disagree with you. And I know seeding, it does matter. But I just, in terms of what he was doing as a scorer, LeBron James was very impressive this year as an All-NBA player. There's some people that don't have him on the list at all, which I think is, pretty spicy as Siavash rolls his eyes. But again, I don't disagree with DeMar.
What's up, bro?
Okay, guards. Siavash, take it away with the guards.
My first position for the guards is going to John Morant. Chris had him on his first team. No disagreement there. I think it's you can have Jaw and Luka and Booker in any of those orders for the first team and the second team. My second spot goes to Stephen Curry. He hasn't had the best season by his standards, but he still has had an incredible season. And right now, I mean, sure, we're not supposed to take the playoffs into account, but listen, man, last night I saw him do a post-up fadeaway, so
yeah, and he was
no way I'm not having that.
I don't know how many points. I think he got probably over 30 points, and he was a sixth man last night. So, like,
yeah, he had over 35, I think.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he's so good, man. And it's funny because, like you said, by his standard, he hasn't had a good season. I agree with you, by the way. I have both John and Steph there. I remember, like, people were talking about his shooting slump. He was going through a shooting slump, like, right before he hit that all-time threes record. I think, honestly, it was more mental. I think he's focusing too much on trying to hit that goal. But clearly, he's out of that right now. He's out of that funk. He's doing fine. Steph, early on, was in contention for MVP. You know, they do your way too early MVPs in the month of October, November. People were talking about him as an MVP candidate. I put a futures bet on him to win the MVP, but obviously didn't.
I will. Before we go ahead, I will say this. I'm sure his name's gonna come up in you guys' list too. But I think the reason his MVP candidacy and his slump kind of got started in the middle of the season is Draymond Green. I've been watching the Warriors more in the playoffs, and the way Draymond just facilitates with Steph, it kind of tells me that how these guys need each other to be good. And I think Draymond being injured did affect his play during the season. But now I think with Draymond being back, it's definitely interesting.
Okay. Very fair, very fair.
Chris? Who's up next for their second team guards?
I'll jump in. I have, again, this little swap. I have Luka starting in there, and then I have Steph. That's my second guy again. So, all respectable. Little swap here and
Solid
there.
Team.
Yeah. You already went right to.
Oh.
I already went for my guards. I have Jaw and Steph for my All NBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the last team. This is where it gets a little spicy.
This is where it gets a little spicy because I've seen a lot of weird opinions on a certain position.
I think I saw Pascal in there.
Yep. Anyways, let's start with the center. There's a few guys I think that could be nominated. One guy I feel just extremely bad for because of his fucking loser of a teammate that he has to play with. Another guy. Am I taking this? Am I the one that's starting this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I know what you got.
Fuck. Man, this is difficult for me. I mean, honestly, it's between Cat or between Rudy for me. Yeah. I'm gonna take Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is the best player on that Utah Jazz team by far. Again, people talk about voter fatigue. He's the one of the best defenders in the league. And don't look at me with your fucking eyebrow raise because I know you're a huge Spider-Man fan, and that means that you're just affiliated with Donovan the Spider Mitchell. I don't care. That guy's overrated. He's not the number 2 shooting guard in the league. Zach LaVine is better. He's probably one of the most selfish players I've ever seen. Man. Disgusting. The one play that sticks out.
That's all this guy wants.
We're going on the tangent. I know Steve.
He just wants Tobias just loves the hot take. Not every take needs to be hot.
No. It's not hot because I know there's people that agree with me that are in the same damn room. Spider Donovan Mitchell drove the line with 2 defenders in front of him, hands up, and decided to try to shoot it when Rudy Gobert is right there in the paint with Jalen Brunson, little 6-foot Jalen Brunson on him, and Donovan Mitchell just decides to wave off Rudy. Donovan Mitchell last game, I think, went 13 for 30. You're not Kobe Bryant. Relax. Chill out, bro. He takes way too many threes, and he can't shoot them that consistently. Why are you taking them? We all know the stat of him passing to Rudy twice. Not even an assist. Passing to Rudy twice. We get it. There's conflict. But at some point, you got to be a man and grow up. If you don't want to be in the organization, then ask for a trade and get out. And I think we need to start a petition. Free Rudy Gobert, get him out of Utah, or get Donovan Mitchell to another organization. Let him go to the dysfunctional New York Knicks, and he'll be in purgatory for the rest of his life. Free Rudy Gobert. Let him go to Charlotte. Let him go to Toronto. Let him go to LA. Let him go anywhere where he can actually have success and be appreciated. Rudy Gobert is my third All-NBA center. And again, Cat. I love Cat. He's a dog. He does everything. Best offensive shooting big in the league. Rudy Gobert.
Like it, bro. He coming in with the smoke. I've been waiting for this all week.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome.
Because I've been talking about Donovan Mitchell being a little bit overrated. And everybody always came at me like, how do you mean this guy has taken the Jazz, this and that?
You're right. And I was on that side. You're right.
Yeah, listen. I'm not saying, and I will say this. Donovan Mitchell seems like a great guy. Seems like a good player. I just think he's got to, fix some things up, grow up a little bit, because this whole little thing they got going on, not passing Rudy, is looking a little dirty right now.
Okay. I mean, again, what's all NBA based on? Is it based on team chemistry, or is it based on players' performance?
Are you telling me that Rudy Gobert is not one of the greatest players in the league?
But I'm just asking, though, what is it? Is it based on, like, their performance or, like, the team chemistry, all that stuff?
It has nothing to do with that. I'm saying he's the greatest defensive big in the league.
He had to get that rant out of him. It came out at this time.
Yeah.
Don't take it into his argument.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
that.
fair.
Like his chemistry, Donovan Mitchell being like one of the worst teammates I've ever seen, has nothing to do with my vote for Rudy being third All-NBA center. And I know you're a huge Donovan Mitchell guy. That's fine. You ride it out with your guys. You got LeBron on the All-NBA first team. You got Ja on the All-NBA first team. That's fine. You can have. Bro,
I'm not a huge Mitchell fan. I respect Mitchell's game, but again, you as like a Jordan stan comes in here and it's like, oh, records, and
Wait, what?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm confused.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Okay,
you always just want to
let me take it away.
But yeah, you go.
Let me take it away.
Go ahead, see.
For my All-NBA 13, for my center, I am going with Karl Anthony Towns.
And respectable.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Cat. I'm not, the biggest fan, but I think it's just, the way he's played this season, he's been incredible.
Yeah.
And I think deservingly, he should get that All-NBA 13. Rudy has a great case. He's a great defender. I think without him, that Jazz team would not be doing as well either. But I think in this season, I'm going to have to go with Cat.
Yeah, obviously Cat is that superstar player on that Minnesota team. They would not be where they are without Cat as well. He does things on both ends of the floor, and that's why I debated between the two of them. I would probably say my appreciation for Rudy has gone up just by talking to you, to be honest with you, Sivash, because if you talked to me at the start of the season, I'm not a Rudy fan. I was like, yo, fuck this guy. He only does one thing on the floor. But watching him in competitive games, you can see the value he brings, even though he doesn't get the ball past him.
And I will say, today might be the worst day to try to root for Rudy, because last night he got a few open passes that he missed open shots on. But we're still going to go with the narrative, not the truth.
And I mean, that's the thing. You can't let one game, sway your vote. Because if we had recorded this right after the Clippers playing match, how am I looking at Cat? You know what I mean? Like, Cat was brutal. But again, if you look at the whole season, the whole package, I think either of those guys, extremely respectable. You can have either one of those tonight, and I can understand.
Okay.
Chris?
Yeah, agree with you. Cat. So
yeah.
Chris like cats. That's why.
That's true. He has it too.
Cat.
Exactly. Yeah, I have two cats at home, so I picked Cat for that exact reason. Yeah. So okay, on to the forwards.
Chris, I'm gonna let you go with this. I want to see where you're gonna take this.
I have DeMar DeRozan, and I have Pascal Siakam as my forwards.
That's all you see.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. My All NBA 13 forwards, I do have Pascal in there. I think he's been playing great. Last episode I did come in here and I came in a little hot. I say he's been playing good, but he has played great.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say it's a little bit because we don't have a lot of options here, but that's how All NBA goes. You just compare players to other players and you just rank them. And that's not to take away anything from Pascal. He's deserving the All NBA third forward. My other option, LeBron James. I'm not going to leave him out of this. He has played great. I can't just take away what he's done because of the record. Again, if there was a player that was in the top 8 and had a better play than him, I may have taken them, but LeBron played out his mind. I can't put the whole team on him. I wouldn't have had him first team, second team, maybe an argument, but third team is not the question. Yeah, that's my forwards.
Okay, so that's actually surprising to me because from the last episode and from the conversations I had with Sivash and the interactions I saw, the body language I observed, I did not think that you were going to have Siakam on the list. However, we are all in agreements. I do think that Pascal was a huge factor on that Toronto Raptors team. I think there's a couple people that definitely, contributed to the success of the Toronto Raptors, but Pascal, we were all of us were talking shit at the start of the season about Pascal. As Chris called him, the Beyblade. He's found a way to reach in his bag and figure out how to spin more than just one and halfway. I got Pascal. And then my other guy, like I said, could have had him on All NBA second team. It was tight for me, but of course I got DeMar DeRozan. MVP conversations were had around DeMar in the middle of the year. Super impressive what he's done. Again, another player just like Siakam. No one expected him to do as well as he did this year. So I have DeMar and Pascal. Two, one former Raptor, one current Raptor on that All NBA 13.
We give a lot of love to Raptors over here.
Yeah, and there's thoughts that we don't. There's thoughts that we don't, but
you literally do not. So I don't even try and pull that.
Okay, so now we have the last two guard spots for the All NBA third team. I saw this one guy get recognition on All NBA second teams. I think the guards, there's been 4 guards that have been really far and away better this year. But Trae Young, I have in my All NBA third team, definitely. My second guy, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm not totally sure. So I'm going to let you guys go through it because I have 2 guys, but I need to be sold. So if you guys mention both of them or one of them, then I'll ride with it. But for sure, I have Trae Young there. We talk about the factor of them being on the team or them not being on the team. What is the Atlanta Hawks with their Trae Young? Nothing. They're literally nothing. They're not even a play-in team, I bet you. So I got Trae Young there on my one of my guard spots in the All-NBA third team. But Chris, who do you have as your 2 final guards there?
My 2 guards are I have Donovan Mitchell and I have Chris Paul.
Wow, didn't think you'd have Chris Paul from the early slander there.
I love Chris Paul. I'm not gonna knock Chris Paul. I never said Chris Paul's not a good player. He is a great player, and he definitely did contribute to the Phoenix Suns' record and where they are now. But just again maybe coming as a 4th option, whatever, just bringing that experience and stuff. So he did what they did.
Just that moment, it really clicked to me how much we roast Chris for no reason. The poor guy.
Yeah.
He never actually said anything about Chris Paul, but because he had Chris Paul as a 3rd player on the Suns, we're constantly what do you mean?
I know. That's
No. Chris, I agree with you. I do have Chris Paul as one of my guard positions. And for the second one, I am going with Kyrie, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, pardon me.
Kyrie.
I just got to throw that in there. I'm also going with Trae Young. Trae has had a great, similar to LeBron.
Yeah.
I have 2 guys on my All-NBA third team who are out of the play-in or near the play-in have had a great season that if they were in the higher seed, maybe I would have had them higher All-NBA. But Dre has had a great season. I really can't not have him in there, and otherwise the other options are not that good looking for me. Pause. Donovan Mitchell, again, not a good option for me right now. I just can't. And you said you have a few other names. I can't think of any other names right now. So I am going with Trae.
Yeah, Chris Paul was the main guy, but I honestly wanted to remove him like immediately. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on him because he's my favorite player in the league. I didn't want to be biased. I want to be open to it. But again, you see what Chris Paul is doing.
Nice.
Yeah, you see what Chris Paul does on the court, how he affects the culture of the Phoenix Suns. I think he's grown, not grown. He's allowed Devin Booker to grow a lot. I think Devin Booker is as great as he is. I'm not saying that he wasn't going to be as great, but I think Devin Booker is as great as he is now because of having Chris Paul on his team. Just the ability to score. He dropped 30 last night and also had like 12 assists. He's just, and I know we're not, counting playoffs into factor, but just super impressive of what Chris Paul does, and at the age that he does that, the IQ is insane. So,
who was your other guy?
my other guy, honestly, was Donovan Mitchell. I wanted to hear the argument, but I didn't hear an argument from Chris as to why. It's the reasoning, so I wasn't really sold on it. But I say, and
it's because I like Spider-Man, so I just picked
I say, and I still stick with it. Rudy is the best player on that team, but Donovan Mitchell obviously does have his factor. I just don't see them honestly being together after this year.
My dumbass was gonna actually say that, Chris.
I just don't see how they stay together next year. To be honest with you, I think one of them's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
All NBA.
Those are the All NBA teams. So we had some agreeances. We had some players that I think for the most part, everybody that was on the list we all agreed with, except maybe one or two. But actually, yeah, they're both the Jazz guys. Anyways, let's talk about the Jazz. Let's talk about the other guys in the playoffs. I have a question for you guys. So obviously, the last episode we did our playoff predictions. Who we thought was going to win round one, how many games. If you could go back right now and you could take a look at the series that have happened, how you predicted them, one from the East and one from the West, what prediction would you change? Chris, I'll allow you to start first.
I don't remember what my predictions were. Okay, so they're right here. Looking back at this, I would probably change in the West. Yeah, I'd probably change like my Warriors and Nuggets one now, because again, that was a very tight toss up. I was just so unsure about Steph, and then as Steph mouthed yesterday, he's back, baby. He's back. Yeah. And then from the East, honestly, I would probably change.
Before you give your pick, let's stay on the West and let's stay on the Nuggets versus Warriors, because that is going to be my pick as well.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're raising a great point. We all kind of had Steph out in our mind, so that's where we were kind of like, I think all of us had the Nuggets in 7 or 6.
Yeah.
And I think now after 2 games, after seeing what Steph and Draymond and even Jordan Poole has been doing, definitely want to change that myself. I would change it to Warriors in 5 or 6 at this point.
I agree. Warriors in 5. Like, again, we talked about Jokic, and Jokic is, a beast in himself, but we were honestly even watching the Nuggets implode. Like, that's the funny thing, man. Like, the Warriors are so good. Their offense is so good. Their shooting is so good. They can spray from anywhere that other teams literally get frustrated playing against them. I don't know who Miami was playing the game that they had their big spot on the bench, but if you told me it was the Golden State Warriors, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
it was the Warriors.
That's hilarious. They literally they upset defenses so much, and the Miami Heat are a great defensive team. They upset opposing defenses so much that they literally get in arguments, and that's just the magic and the chemistry of those three: Steph, Clay, and Dre, and then the culture that they built in now Oakland, bringing in those young guys. It's a great squad, man. And I did a video on TikTok the other day about who I have coming out of the East. preview, it's I'm gonna do the same video for the West. It's gonna be Golden State. I'm so impressed. I think they're probably gonna get down to Phoenix and Golden State there in the Western Conference Finals, and I'm gonna say experience trumps.
All right, Chris, who was your team on the East that you would like to change your prediction on?
On the East, I think I would honestly change the Pelican Suns. I think I'm just gonna have the Suns sweeping the Pelican. Oh, in the what?
On the
Wait,
East.
what?
In the East. We just did the West in the East.
Oh, what the heck?
So the Miami Heat, Atlanta, Raptors, Philly,
Wait,
Boston,
what did I start with? Oh my
Golden
god.
State.
I'm so dumb.
You're good. You're good.
No, you're good.
No, I'm literally looking at my things, and I'm looking at my playoff things, and I'm sorry, no, I would
I figured, yeah.
I'm gonna change it. Sorry, I'm this Miami Heat and Atlanta. I'm just gonna say Miami's probably gonna sweep. Like, I gave them a gentleman's sweep with a 5, but just the way they came out that first game, like, Miami was just playing absolutely unfucking real, and I think they're just gonna keep that up entire series. Jimmy fucking wants it, man. Jimmy's getting chippy, and when Jimmy gets chippy, man, as we learned, yes, Tobias, we learned that together, shit happens. Jimmy makes stuff happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with that. Jimmy and all the guys on that team, they're just so tough.
Yeah.
And they're going to make it hard for the Hawks to get anything off. I think the fact that they're all able to switch from 1 through 5 is an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Where Bam was guarding Trey, and Trey really didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
My take on the East, originally I had the Raptors winning in 6.
Oh.
This is the one I'm going back to change. Now I got the Sixers winning in 6.
Sixers in 6. That's fair.
Yeah, and
That's
this
fair.
has a few things to do with the first 2 games. Last time we watched the second game where James Harden just pushed himself into 2 players, and both him and Embiid just dropped to the ground, and it was a foul for the Sixers. That's when I knew that the refs are just going to give all the calls to the Sixers, and the Raptors would do.
For me,
we still got 2 games.
For me, it was when Kim Birch was laying flat on his back, and then he got a foul somehow. Still, like he's literally on the ground, and then Joel still gets a foul. I was like, what? How?
Yeah, no. Joel is getting all the calls he needs. And the other thing is, like, Joel fucking injured Scotty by just stepping on him. I'm like,
bro, Joel beat up like 5 Raptors. But I will say, yes, I will agree. The refs have been a little bit biased with their calls, but I will also say it is also in part like the Raptors' fault too. Like, they have not been coming out well at all. You can't have like your 2 main scorers shooting terribly like that and just not doing anything or picking up, late in the game. Like, I know Raptors love that play from behind like mentality, and there's like, oh, they pick it up in the third like they pretty much did yesterday when they went on that 15-0 run. But it's like, you can't be doing that in playoff ball, especially against players like Joel and Harden. And if you know that it's like, you're not going to get the calls that you're going to get. So.
Yeah, I think we all kind of underestimated how Joel and James Harden were going to do in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Raptors have been playing decent defense, but triple teaming the guy is just going to result in fouls every play.
Yeah.
And again, we got 2 games ahead of us in Toronto. The next 2 games are, and we're going to see how that plays over there. I don't know how James Harden's going to deal with this weather, but we're going to see how that goes. And I think, again, my original take, of course, was Raptors in 6. I'm going to change it to Sixers. Either way, I don't mean what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just want to see how these next 2 games go for sure.
To be honest, I'm not counting the Raptors out yet. You have 2 games at home. You have, the best defender. Well, not the best defender, but one of their, better defenders on Philadelphia. Not there, obviously not able to play in Toronto. Unfortunately, you don't have Scotty. I don't know what the update is with him. I did see him in a boot, so I'm assuming he's not coming back for this series. But you have an opportunity. But now it's on the Raptors to win these games. You have to win these games at home. That's the main objective. Win your games at home. Let those last 3 games play out as they may. So I'm not switching that. I don't think that if the Raptors win, I don't think they'll win in 6. I would say it probably goes to 7. Now I have concern. I did say in the prediction podcast that if it goes to 7, it's Philly because it's in Philly. Anything can happen in a game 7. Anything can happen in a game 7. Mm-hmm. My prediction, I'm going to agree with Chris. I'm going to change the Miami and Atlanta. I gave Atlanta way too much respect. Way too much respect. Winning 2 games? No. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta gets swept, especially watching Trae Young play in the last game. I think he had 8 points. Not gonna win. Not gonna win with that. Sivesh, I'll let you talk about the conversation him and Nate McMillan had. Too many M's and C's in there. The conversation him and Nate McMillan had. But again, with a guy like Clint Capella out, I don't know how long he's out for. That's a huge factor, especially against a Miami team that can switch upon anybody. One of the better defending teams in the league. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept. I'll still give them a bit more respect, but I'll say 5. But I don't. With Trae playing the way he's playing, if their guys aren't clicking and Trae's not clicking, it's over, bro. It's done.
Yeah, I mean, Capella, it seems like he's going to be back during the series, but even then, like, it's going to be a tough series for them. Tonight is going to be game 2. We're going to see how they're going to adjust, but the point that Nate McMillan made on their last game, I believe it was on Sunday, he said that they can't play one way. They can't just have Trae handling the ball, because once they take the ball out of Trae's hand, they have no offense. And Trae gets a lot of comparisons to Steph Curry since the beginning of his career. Mm-hmm. And I really wish he would kind of give into that and try to play off the ball a little bit more with somebody like Gallinari or even some of the guards on there trying to handle the ball more. But for now, he just handles the ball all the time. And maybe if they can make that adjustment, they can play a little bit better. But I don't disagree with you guys on that.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. We didn't make any changes to our Celtics or Nets takes.
Because I'm still on the Celtics, bro. I got the C's going 100.
That's a long series. And it was a pretty close game. Again, you just had Durant slacking on defense. That's about it. That's literally it.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
I think both of you guys are on the Nets to win, right?
Yeah.
No, I had the Celtics. Yeah, and I had them in 6. You know what, man? It's tough. I'm looking at Ben Simmons coming back, shooting threes. I might have the Nets.
Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
Why not, man? That's the way to do it. Get your hopes up, so when you get let down, you just start hating that thing. Sure. That's how you live life, my brother.
Sure. Well, I do have optimism and I do have hope. I just got a report 14 minutes ago, not me personally. I just have his tweets flagged on.
You got the call from Wojciech. What up?
I got the call from Shams. Shams reported that Luka, it's looking like great optimism that he will return in either game 3 or game 4. So that's massive for that series. Obviously, Dallas did their thing last night. Shout out Jalen Brunson dropping 40. But if Luka comes back, if there's still dysfunction in Utah, wrap it up. Wrap it up. That would be another prediction I would change as well because I have Utah moving on. So I would definitely, switch that as well.
And also a factor.
Yeah, and I think we were talking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say also a factor that like I didn't even take in until I was talking to some people yesterday at like Ball. Big shout out to Kyrie for still putting up 39 during like the month of Ramadan because I know he's fasting, no water, none of that, and even playing ball with like these guys yesterday. Some of them moving like a little sluggish, not the energy like they normally have, and to still put up 39, still have the performance. So good on that guy.
Yeah. So fuck the Boston Celtics. So fuck the Boston Celtics for yelling at him. This man's playing on an empty stomach. Like shut the fuck up. Sit down.
Empty
no wonder
stomach,
he's mad.
Dehydrated. Empty stomach.
Yeah.
Dehydrated.
Yeah.
That's the tough one, man. Like not having water, because we all fasted before. It's not difficult, but the water is a hard one. I'm not going to go on a KOC rant and talk about how fasting is not hard. Mm-hmm. It is really hard when you don't have water in your system, because water actually makes it a lot easier and your body gets to flush out the stuff. Not having water, try going a day without having water. That's tough.
Yeah, and I was watching the game. I was watching the game with Tarek, and Tarek wasn't aware of it. But once I told him, this man just dropped 39 and he's fasting, I showed him the post-game interview. I think this is after game 1, and he was just extremely impressed because Tarek is fasting as well. So he was just extremely impressed that he was able to do that. So yeah, shout out to Kyrie for sure.
Shout out to him, man. Just being on Ramadan, being on fasting, and giving the back fingers to the Celtics fans and telling them suck his dick. Yo, that's my guy.
That's why Hakeem was so great too, man. That guy was always fasting. He was mad on the court too. No, that's probably why, man. People always talk about Hakeem being angry, just a peaceful guy off the court, but just an angry person on the court. No wonder he's probably hungry. Like leave the man alone. He's just trying to hoop. Like he's starving out here. Yeah.
Oh God.
Go ahead, Sebastian.
I was gonna say, just a quick touch on the Minnesota versus Grizzlies series. Tonight is game 2. First game went to Minnesota. They came out guns blazing. I didn't believe in Cat, but Tobe, you had him coming out playing better than he did in that playing game. And man, listen, one day I'm gonna come back here with my hot take, but Ant is looking good, man.
Facts.
Oh, Ant's looking
that guy's
great.
Playing.
Facts.
Great.
He is him. His pronouns are him.
I will say I learned something about that game that Cat played against the Clippers. And I'm not saying that I'm not phrasing this the right way, but I just want to, give recognition to maybe and understand to maybe why he was not playing so well. 2 years to the day that he was playing against the Clippers in that playing game was when he lost his mom to COVID. So that would definitely wear on you. I can understand, he was that was one, I took notes of takeaways from that game. I was very unimpressed with the Timberwolves as a team. They just, everything they were doing was so emotional. They were always arguing with the refs. Cat got fouled out because he was arguing with the refs. And, I think I have a bit more understanding as to why maybe he was playing the way he was and why he was so emotional in that game.
No, man, that's just an unfortunate situation. I did not know that was the 2-year anniversary, and it's just that whole situation did take a toll on Cat, and to see him come out doing so well, I mean, it's incredible. It's got to a point that I didn't even remember that. And yeah, I do kind of feel bad for making fun of him for not doing well in that game now.
Yeah. But you weren't aware, you know what I mean?
I would not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would not be able to perform anything on those. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to him still going out, doing what he has to do, and trying to do what he loves.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
100%. Okay, and with that is another episode of the Lob It Up Podcast. Broke down our All-NBA team, talked about the updates of the NBA playoffs. I think probably by the next time we record, at least 1, maybe 2 series will be wrapped up. So we'll be able to break down those. And then we'll, it'll probably be in the back half of a lot of games. The best of 3 series. I hope we get a couple Game 7s. I don't think a lot of us predicted a couple Game 7s. I think maybe Chris had 2 in there, but I'm pretty sure I had none. I love Game 7s when my team's not playing. Chris, if you reflect back to whenever we did the recording a couple years ago, you and I for our playoff prediction, I was in tears. I don't like watching my team play Game 7. So, but now that my team's not there, I want to watch it because it's very active. But until next time, we'll catch you next one. Peace.